NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. And I need a favor from you. Look, we want to get this video out to as many people as possible. So for everyone that's watching this show right now, stop whatever you're doing, click the share button, select the Twitter icon, and click post to Twitter. If you tag me at Tyler Jones Live, I will retweet you. And the first 10 shares to today's show, you are going to get a follow back on Twitter. Why? Because I feel generous. And I feel like sharing my blue check mark I didn't pay for with everybody. So go ahead and share today's show. Let's get this out to the masses that are a part of what we're doing here on NFL Daily, and we'll get started. Here is the first question out of the mailbag and out of our live show from Monday. Use the hashtag NFL or Super Chat to be a part of these mailbags that we do. First one coming in from Cameron writes, do you think Burrow will pass Hurts in highest paid QB at $52 million? All right, that's a very good question, Cameron. Think about this, okay? I was talking about this on our live show on Monday. There's essentially two lanes you can choose when it comes to getting paid in the National Football League right now. There's the cash flow lane, and then there's the guaranteed money lane. The owners want guys to stay in the cash flow lane. They're trying to push players away from the guaranteed money lane. But a guy like Joe Burrow might actually have the power to go to the guaranteed money lane if he wants to, because how are you going to say no to Joe Burrow, right? Okay, so think about this. If Joe Burrow decides, I want to go the cash flow lane, then yes, he would be the highest paid quarterback in football. I think the Bengals would pay him more than Jalen Hurts. If he decides he wants the guaranteed money, and if he can convince the Bengals to give him said guaranteed money, then he's probably not going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, but he would be getting a fully guaranteed deal potentially if he can convince the Bengals to do so. So it comes down to simply this. Does he want to be, or does he care more about guaranteed money? I would guess probably more so the cash flow lane based on the way things we've seen trend as of late. Ego My Lego, nice name there, writes in, where will DeAndre Hopkins end up? That's the million-dollar question I think a lot of us are asking right now. And there was a report that came out earlier this week from ESPN's Jeff Darlington that the Kansas City Chiefs were the odds-on favorites to land DeAndre Hopkins, that them, comparably speaking to the New York Jets, that they had more assets to give up. They were in more of a need at the receiver position than what the New York Jets were. And think about this for the defending Super Bowl champs. They have 10 picks in this upcoming draft, and they're already pretty dang good as is. Don't you think the Chiefs could probably package a couple picks to get DeAndre Hopkins? Now, the money doesn't look great, but I think a team like Kansas City makes sense for D-Hop to go and restructure. If you're going to take less money anywhere, why would you not want to play with the best player in all of football in Patrick Mahomes? To me, that seems like a good fit. And the cap situation for Kansas City gets a whole lot better next year, so maybe they can push some money towards next year in a restructure. Where will DeAndre Hopkins play next year? This is our pin comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it and get your votes in. Tell me where you think D-Hop is going to end up. Will it be in Kansas City? Will it be with the Jets? Will it be somewhere else? Let us know in the comment section where you think DeAndre Hopkins is going to go. Junior writes in, should the Patriots trade for Cooper Kupp? Junior, a very good question there. The Rams have made a lot of changes, right? As they try to retool this roster. Moving on from Jalen Ramsey, and we've seen Aaron Donald talk about retirement. We've seen Matt Stafford talk about retirement. They've made some pretty significant changes. Robert Woods has been gone, a while now, and just some of these other names that we've seen. The roster, put it this way, that we saw the Rams win the Super Bowl with a couple years ago is a whole lot different than what we've seen, what the roster looks like now there in Los Angeles. With that said, Cooper Kupp, I think, is one of the foundational pieces of that franchise. I think that he is going to be there as long as Sean McVay is there. Cooper Kupp, I think it's going to be very hard to convince the Rams to trade him away and bring him to New England. Cooper Kupp feels like a Bill Belichick type receiver. I mean, he does. He would thrive in New England, I think. But I don't see the Rams letting go of him. I think things going to stay as is. Should they? Maybe. But he's also getting older, and you have to think about injuries, too. RC says, Bijan to the Falcons. Bijan Robinson, I got to tell you, Bijan is something special. He is the best prospect we've seen at the running back position of the draft since Saquon Barkley. He is that good, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. Will he go to Atlanta? I don't know about that. Remember, they have Cordell Patterson there at the running back position, so that's not necessarily top priority, but Bijan is so good that he's one of those guys that you might consider taking despite not necessarily having a need at that position there because he's that good. With that said, Bijan in Atlanta, maybe. I mean, there's a number of teams that I'm interested in. Bijan is like a big wild card in this draft because, I mean, there are some mock drafts out there that project Bijan to go as high as top 5, which seems a bit absurd. But there are others that have him going at the end of the first round, or at least in the bottom 10 picks. I don't know what's going to happen. To me, that is one of the great unknowns. Bijan will be a first-round pick, but we haven't seen any consistency of where that ultimately will end up for Bijan. Folks, you got to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We got the draft coming up on the channel next week. We're going to break down every single pick. We're not doing all those goofy interviews that you see on the networks. We're going to have comprehensive draft coverage you won't find anywhere else. We are also covering the daily news and rumors here on the channel. We have our live shows during the week as well. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. NFL Daily by Chat Sports. You'll be glad you subscribed when you do so if you haven't already. And help us out. Help us help you, basically, when you subscribe to the channel. Daddy writes in, hello there. When you think the A-Rod trade will happen? Alex Rodriguez? No, I'm kidding. Aaron Rodgers. That is a great question. We're all playing the waiting game at this point. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of an Aaron Rodgers trade happening around the draft, and here's why. If you're the New York Jets, does it make sense to have your draft situation, same with the Packers too for that matter, figured out of knowing what picks you can work with before the draft goes on with Aaron Rodgers and you can plan your picks accordingly? To me, that makes the most sense that something would happen relatively soon. But the Packers have taken their time. They've shown that they have, that this is all the pressure is on the Jets, right? The Packers can sit there and wait and get as much as they can out of this and up that price potentially as far as that goes. So I would think it's going to happen for the draft, but I can't say for certain. Pablo writes, Pablo Sanchez. Wasn't there like backyard baseball or something with Pablo Sanchez? That's an OG commenter there. Will the Vikings cut or trade Dalvin Cook anytime soon? I think what I would expect is Dalvin Cook to get cut and to get a post-June 1 distinction. Now, I know there's ways you can work around where you could cut Dalvin Cook tomorrow but have it on the books for June 1 and work things out that way. I would think, I don't know if the cut happens necessarily tomorrow or 3 months from now, but Dalvin Cook's not going to play for the Minnesota Vikings next year. And I don't see anyone in their right minds trading for a $10 million running back either. That's on the back end of his prime now. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but I would expect a cut to happen in the June 1 distinction when it comes to Dalvin Cook there. We'll see. Where will Dalvin Cook play next season? Give me a team that comes to mind. Is it somehow the Vikings? That'd be crazy. Is it someone else? Tracy and I were talking about this earlier. I think the Bills would be a really good fit for him. Bills, I think, are still one playmaker away. You're looking at that Buffalo team, and they need to run the football well, cold weather in Buffalo and everything. Watch out for Buffalo. Let me know, where will Dalvin Cook play next season? Tell us in the comment section below. Evan writes, how many wins do you think the Bears get next season? I don't like to make win projections until the draft goes down and we see basically what these teams look like. So for me, it's still too early to put a number on a win projection. We don't even know what the schedule looks like yet. But, Evan, I'll say this much. The Bears will be an improved football team. They won't have the worst record in the league again. I think Justin Fields, you got the quarterback. I think Justin Fields is good enough to be a very good QB in this league. The offensive line looks a lot better. The skill positions look a lot better. The defense is improved, and we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. And I have every reason to think the Bears are going to take some big steps in this draft with all the picks that they got. It will be better. They still have a ways to go, but the Bears are much improved. So I'll leave it at that. The Bears will be a better team this upcoming year. Last question from Evan. Who's going to start week 1? Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, or Trey Lance? So let's put it this way. If Brock Purdy is healthy from the elbow surgery and everything that's involved there, Brock Purdy's your guy. But if he is not healthy, then I think Trey Lance would be the next option. But that's assuming he's there, too. Somebody could trade for Trey Lance potentially. Then it's Sam Darnold. So let's work this out scenario by scenario here. If all quarterbacks are healthy, Brock Purdy's the guy. If Brock Purdy is not healthy and Trey Lance is still around, it's Trey Lance. If Brock Purdy's not healthy and Trey Lance is gone, then it's Sam Darnold. So those are the scenarios. We'll see how it plays out, but that's how I think it will go.